Virus 13, Chapter 15. Pat was confident that he was going to starve to death. Due to a fit he had thrown during the last exercise of the night, he had once again missed the number of calories that he needed to burn so that he could eat. Thus, the fitness freaks had sent him to bed with a burning stomach and aching muscles. The amount of physical discomfort he was in, combined with Tony's discordant chainsaw of a snore, resulted in a long and tormenting night. At 4:30 a.m., the sleeping hall was plunged into chaos when a high-pitched fire alarm went off. Pat bounced out of bed, half expecting the cowboys to be back, ready to manhandle him again. The ringing of the alarm was deafening. He plunged his fingers into his ears. When the noise subsided, he realized that it wasn't a fire alarm. It was just a high-power alarm clock. Pat's hands were still shaking with adrenaline as Thomas trotted into the room, looking perky as usual. "Good morning. So we're going to go on a short 2-mile run before breakfast. Meet me outside in 2 minutes." Thomas turned and jogged out of the room. "You win," thought Pat after he found himself actually eager to work out, or more specifically eager to work out and then get something to eat. The health retreat had broken his will. Thomas led them on a slow jog around the pyramid of the building, following a well-worn path through the forest. The long line of men and women crashed through the early dawn with Thomas at the front barking orders and the cheering Mandy at the rear of the group making sure no one stopped or get left behind. Pat was in the back of the pack with Mandy nipping at his heels. She wasn't really jogging anymore. Pat was so slow she was basically jumping up and down in place giving him words of encouragement. "You got it, Pat. You're the man. Looking good." She was filled with enthusiasm and energy that Pat felt no human being should demonstrate this early in the morning. 30 painful minutes later, he finished the run and was allowed to get cleaned up. After a shower, he found himself back in the cafeteria waiting for the moment of truth. This time they congratulated him on reaching his calorie goal and allowed him to proceed and get his food. His excitement diminished when he saw the plate of white shiny snot that was waiting for him. "Blah, what is this?" Pat asked, staring with disgust at his plate. Mandy popped up next to him, her breast shoved into his face. "Those are egg whites." Her eyes filled with assurance. "I eat them every morning." "Mandy, at this point I am so hungry that I will have to eat those boogers. Thanks for trying to make me feel better. If this is for breakfast, I'll be looking forward to the bull testicles for lunch. I hear they are also high in protein." She laughed at this. Making sexy Mandy laugh made Pat feel a little better. He left the counter and found a spot next to Tony at one of the long cafeteria tables. Tony had already inhaled his meal and was now sadly staring at his plate, but there used to be food moments before. Despite the blandness of the meal, Pat eagerly spooned the quivering egg whites into his mouth. It wasn't much food, and it only took a minute to finish it all. Afterward, he joined Tony in mourning over the empty plates. "My stomach is so angry at me," said Tony. Pat nodded in agreement. With no food left, he was feeling the kick of another kind of hunger. His eyes wandered over to Marta's. She was sitting alone a couple tables over. He had considered taking a seat next to the dainty pink-haired outcast, but his nerves got the best of him. Marta sat with her head down and shoulders slumped. Her spindly hands wielded a fork that only managed to push food around her plate. Apparently, she had already had her fill of the manager meal. After the 30-minute breakfast and recovery time limit expired, they were rounded up and led down a corridor by Mandy. She took them to a room that reminded Pat of a dance studio. The walls were lined with mirrors, so as the group entered the room, their appearance was unavoidable. Once everyone was inside, their Barbie doll captor clapped her hands together, her voice laced with cheerleader pep. "Okay, is everyone ready for ball training?" The only response she got was a groan from Tony in the back of the room. After the small breakfast, Tony had been complaining non-stop that he was still starving and could do no further exercise without proper nutritional support. Mandy grabbed one of the many inflatable rubber balls off the shelf against the wall. She bounced it a couple times. The sound of the reverberating plastic hit the ground made several people in the front row visibly flinch, like she was brandishing a whip or something equally painful. So core strength is one of the most essential strengths we can build in the body. Everything from biking, running, swimming, and even golf is really driven by your core. If you have weak core muscles, everything suffers and you will be more prone to injury. Tony interrupted. Weak core muscles? Weak core muscles? Look at this, darling. Nothing but solid steel. An unashamed Tony pried his shirt over his massive belly and jiggled it like a bathtub full of gelatin. To resort, Mandy quickly stripped off her white shirt. Underneath, she was wearing a bright pink sports bra. Her sun-baked cleavage spilled out, demanding everyone's attention. Mandy had a six-pack etched out of the broad skin beneath her bountiful breast. Pat couldn't help but stare. He wondered if anyone else was having conflicting feelings of inadequacy and arousal. Now, Tony, these are core muscles, she said. She brushed her hands down her stomach. Tony whimpered. She laughed and continued. This is what all of you should shoot for. Abs just take dedication. People. Now let's have a great workout. Mandy slipped the microphone onto her sports bra strap. Her voice boomed loudly. Everyone grab a ball and line up. Make sure you have 2 arms' length of space between you and the next person. Everyone suddenly hobbled over to the shelf that held the stability balls. One by one, they picked the ball and hugged it to their chests as they returned to the open space in front of Mandy. Start Mandy's core strength workout mix. The speakers in the walls instantly started blaring a synthetic electronic beat. The impetuous pounding of the bass made Pat's ball quiver in his arms. Oh, great, Pat thought. More fucking technique. Okay, 3 sets of 20 crunches. Ready? Mandy yelled over the music as she sat down the bomb. The question wasn't really a question because she began counting off the crunches before anyone had time to reply. Pat grunted in agony as he leaned back and tried to lift himself. He was too weak. He just lay there splayed out over his ball, unable to bring himself back up. How pathetic, he thought. He looked around to see if anyone else was in the same dilemma. Directly to his left was Modest. She was also lying stretched over her ball, staring at the ceiling, making no attempt whatsoever to follow Mandy's lead. Her shirt had slipped up, and her bleached white stomach was exposed. The view caused a surge of lust in Pat. He stared at the small mounds of Modest's breasts. She wasn't wearing a bra. Her nipples plainly visible through the white cotton. Modest turned her head, catching Pat's searching eyes. A small smile crossed her lips, and she blew him a kiss. Pat whipped his head away. His gaze landed on the ceiling Modest mirrors. Modest had probably watched and stared at her the whole time. He could feel his face flush red in embarrassment. Stupid, 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 he thought. Ready to be a real creeper. Getting caught ogling Modest filled him with a surge of adrenaline. He began to strain every muscle in his body, then it started to happen. Like a submarine rising from the icy depths, he felt himself lifting up. His abs cramped under the strain of his upper body. 1, he counted completely out of breath. Randy counted off her 15.